Hello, good morning, everyone. I am so excited to welcome you to MicroStrategy Connect. We've been on the road for a little bit. We had MicroStrategy World, we had Roadmap Summit series, but now we're back in HQ, we're live, and we're super excited. If it's your first time watching Connect, it's really just a place where we talk with a bunch of different microstrategists to talk about different perspectives, product features, and what's happening in the product labs. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing a recap of World 2023. We're going to talk about the futures presentation and a little bit about what's next. So Jose and Marta, I'm so excited you're back. But sitting right next to you, we have Saurabh. And if you don't know, Saurabh is back as our Chief Product Officer, and we couldn't be more excited for that. And I'm going to let you start off with introductions, Saurabh.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, it's really nice to be back. I was just doing the math. I started in the analytics business in 2003. So it's been 20 years, and this kind of feels like home. I spent the last 3 years off working in an ERP company to really see how people deploy analytics at scale across organizations. So it's nice to kind of get that different lens. But I'm back. It's been a few weeks. I got probably the best start I could have asked for. I got to get out to Zurich and Milan and visit some of our customers out there and really hear directly from them some of the things that they're trying to do. So it's great to be back, and it's great to further the mission of intelligence everywhere.
Love it.
Wow, I don't have that much experience in analytics industry, but I joined MicroStrategy in 2018. And it's been a really fun ride. And recently, changed my PM position from more administration features to modern applications. So this is also a new journey for me as MicroStrategy ONE launched, and we have one platform, one tool, one power, and I'm moving across all the different amazing features that we mentioned on World, and we're continuing to show. We are going to talk about some of them today, but I am really excited. And with Jose, I had a pleasure to work before, but I'm very excited to work with Saurabh in the future.
Welcome back, sir. Pleasure to have you back. I don't remember what I was doing in 2003. I really don't remember what I was doing. But it's great to have you back. We're excited to be here.
Are you calling me old?
That's a little bit older than myself.
That's what I said. Right.
But pretty excited to be back. Pretty excited to be talking about everything that we showed at World and show you some of our thoughts around those new capabilities that we know that you're excited about. And again, if you haven't watched all the things that we added to our website, please make sure that you go and check them after this Connect.
Nice little plug there, Jose. But we always kick off Connect 2 with a lightning round. So a little bit of fun before we get into the technology. So I'm going to ask a series of questions. The first one being, how do you feel about the rise of generative AI? Who wants to take it?
I can start. Let's start in the opposite order this time. So for me, it's pretty exciting. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think that we're still trying to evaluate all the different things that we can do with this technology, and it's pretty exciting to be part of this new era. At MicroStrategy, for example, you show some of the things that we presented at World, and we keep working in the labs, as you said, Holly, on see how we can bring this technology stack to our platform and make sure that we give our customers or users superpowers, right, that can help them get to the business answers that they're looking for in a short amount of time, and even find more information, more data for them.
Nice.
Well, I feel like it's a new world, to be fair. I can see AI being used everywhere, and it's sometimes a little scary how easy you can get access to a lot of information, but at the same time, it's amazing because you don't really have to be an expert in a field. You can just get the answers from the AI, and it can help you with boring tasks that you have on hand. Even if you have to write an email, you don't even know when to start, you can just ask and you can get a lot of amazing ideas. So at first something new, then it can become your best friends in your daily operating, basically.
Well, I really liked Jose's characterization of the word superpowers, right? So you think about every major technological revolution that we've had as a species, it gives us superpowers, right? Whether it's currency allowed us to trade at scale, thousands of years ago, or a plane that allows you to go from one side of the world to the other side in 24 hours, which was impossible. It was impossible to even do it, let alone 24 hours. And so when I think about generative AI, it's another superpower for us, and it helps propel us as a species forward. And what it really means is that all the things that we have been doing and want to do, we now have an opportunity to do it stronger, faster than we ever could before. We'll talk about some of the features of that in a few minutes, but it really is transformative. I mean, for people, like, I was writing poems to my wife a few months ago. I started playing with ChatGPT. I'm like, this is completely insane.
So funny.
And none of us thought we would see this in our lifetimes, honestly. And it's a platform that completely changes everything. And you're going to get a lot of people talking about what the future looks like. The truth is, none of us know, right? Like when the iPhone came along, nobody thought that, well, all of a sudden this thing that called Snapchat or Instagram will come along and people will start taking photos everywhere. Like, that wasn't what people saw in those early days. And so we're going to see tons of creativity. And I think that's the exciting thing, is that we don't know yet what it's going to do, but we do know it's going to help us a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed. Awesome answers. And I think it's interesting. I mean, you guys were considering generative AI almost a superpower, like Saurabh said, and Jose mentioned, of this analytics space. So switching a little bit, let's ask the second question. If you had a superpower yourself, what would it be, and why would you want that one?
Oh,
Let's
boy.
start in the middle.
Yeah, start in the middle.
Okay.
I would go with mind reading. Especially in my PM work, it would help me a lot. Talking to the customer, sometimes I can hear them saying words, what they want. If I could go inside their mind and see what they actually need and how we can shape the product to actually access this part of what they're looking for, I think this would be the superpower I would be looking for.
Oh, I'm going to take that one step further. Like, if it was not in this context, I would definitely pick another one. But in this context, I think that was the one
Jose
that I would
wants
pick.
to be invisible.
I want to be invisible.
I know it.
No, I'm not Sue Storm. Okay, that was too nerdy. But no, I would like to be able to add functionality to our powerful platform just by thinking about it, so that we can test the possibilities of it, right? That,
oh, nice.
like, Marta wouldn't need to talk to my engineering teams, say, my customers want this, I want it in the product today. Fine, done. I would love to have that superpower.
That would be really nice.
It's a good one.
That's
Superpower. Just invent a superpower.
Yeah, just invent a superpower. That is, like, I don't know, I need to give it a
He's
name.
like AI. He's inventing new things.
What will be yours?
You know what? I'd want like a Jarvis suit, right? I'd want to be able to look at the world and see all the data overlaying it. I'd want to be able to, like, ask an assistant, hey, can you go and do this for me? Can you come and do it? There's a webinar tomorrow. Can you sit at stage and, like, answer all the questions? Like, I would want to have something that helps me do almost anything. And I think AI plus analytics plus the things that we're trying to do, we're starting to get there, where you can just ask the system, ask the machine to do something on your behalf, like write a poem, and it'll go and do it for you. And so that's really what I want something that'll basically allow me to do anything.
Nice. All good answers. All right. So third question, shifting us a little bit into the technology space. We're going to be talking about futures a lot in this Connect. Again, safe harbor. Everyone knows everything could change. But what would you all say is your favorite feature on the roadmap as it exists right now?
Let's start with Rob again.
Want to start with me?
Yes.
Well, I got to say, I don't actually have one feature. I always look at this. I mean, I really don't. Because we have a lot of different users that are doing different things all around the world, right? And so there's features that we're building for people that work in retail stores, right? And it's going to help them. We have features that we're building that's going to help the data scientists do their job better. We have features that we're building that's going to make the administrator, allow them to scale the systems further. So I really think of it's the type of feature, and the type of feature is where we're using AI and intelligence to try to make each one of these different personas more capable than ever before. And we're going to talk about some of those, but I'm not going to pick one. But you guys, I'll let you guys pick one if you'd like.
Oh, I'm a little biased, and I would say the features that are coming for Python in MicroStrategy, like server-side execution, external libraries, and all of the amazing things where you can actually input Python code in a backend, and then you just click one button and this happens. But for the user, like regular business users, you don't really see what's happening in the background and how powerful it is. This is what I'm looking forward to. I know how powerful Python is and how powerful MicroStrategy with Python can be. We already integrated some of this and we have so much more in store. I really can't wait to see it tonight.
So we're saying the superpowers theme, giving like your user superpowers.
Yeah.
So I'm also biased, but I'm going to pick something completely different. I think maybe one of the features that a lot of customers were pretty excited about that we show at World was our future integration or our upcoming integration with PowerPoint. I think this helps to bring intelligence everywhere. This helps to improve adoption. This helps, users who are not really familiar with some analytics systems, like they're getting analytics content where they live, right? So to me, that upcoming integration, I'm also biased because, one of my teams is working on that. So I'm super happy about that one.
Yeah. Awesome. All three good, some of which we will cover a little later. So really exciting stuff. All right. So first question I want to ask you all, and I want to get your perspective on this, is why do you think MicroStrategy stands out in the analytics space? I think there are reasons that have been true for many years. I also think there are reasons that are now new as of the past few weeks, making us stand out in the era of generative AI. Jose, why don't you kick us off with this one?
So I think one of our main differentiators is our semantic graph, right? And all of the AI advancements that we are adding to the platform are built on top of that semantic graph. So all the things that our customers love us about, like security, governance, reusability, all of the upcoming AI functionalities will be leveraging that. So I think, to me, this is a big differentiator and something that helps us to stand out from the rest of the industry.
Nice.
I like how we get all of the users and we take them under consideration. So it's not like we're building tool for administrators or only tool for analysts or only for the business user. You can see one comprehensive tool like MicroStrategy ONE. We are one for everybody to use, to share. And you can start with just creating a simple dossier. Then you can go and create more comprehensive workflow that will automate some of your actions. And then all of those people in one organization can come together, use exactly the same platform, the same tools, and access whatever they need for their daily operating. I think it's a huge differentiator, either that I'm using this tool for something, other tool for something else. And then you also have to remember where you store all of your things. And in MicroStrategy, you have it in the metadata, you have semantic graph, and it just correlates one to another.
Love it. Well, listen, I know I'm the head of product, but I'm not going to from a product perspective, actually. I think what makes us stand out is really who we are, right? We are an analytics company. We believe in intelligence everywhere. And we've been doing this for our entire existence, right? So we started in 1999. We've been public for 25 years, actually just this month. So we had a little celebration yesterday in the office. We're, I think, the only company that stood the test of time that has been trying to achieve this mission and this vision for almost half a century now, right?
Yeah.
And many of our competitors, I go back to even where I started with Crystal Decisions and Business Objects and Cognos and Tableau, and they've all been purchased by other companies, and they're now all part of a different vision, right? Because those companies are different companies, ERP companies or productivity companies. Our mission and vision and every single thing that we do here and every moment of our time for every single person in this company is spent thinking about how do we move the analytics industry forward. And that's our commitment to the world, right? And so if you're looking for a partner that believes in analytics and is open, right? Doesn't care if you want to go to Google Cloud Platform or AWS or Microsoft or Oracle or this or that, we will support all of it. And our goal is to enable that as a standalone analytics vendor. So it's really our DNA, who we are, I think, that separates us from others. And then we build a lot of features, as you guys talked about, that reflect that belief.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. I think we've always been very bold and very fearless of firsts is something that we always say, first to be a mover in different spaces, whether that was mobile, whether that was hyper intelligence. So I think all the answers just meshed really well together. But speaking of impacting the world and World that we just had, World 2023, what did you guys think? Did you have favorite parts of the whole event? Did you have favorite sessions? How'd it go?
Ooh, I think oh, sorry, Marta, go ahead.
No, I mean, this was my first world, so for me it was overwhelming how amazing it was altogether. But I love the start, the MicroStrategy ONE introduction, how we showcase where we're going, how we are building. Like you said, we have this vision and we're going with it for so long, and it was just amazing to see it and to see our leaders talk about it and how they also believe in the product, because you can see that someone speaks with passion. And I mean, I work for the company and I was still sitting like, wow, this is amazing.
Awesome.
I'm going to do what Surab did for a previous question. I think that I cannot pick one moment. I cannot pick one favorite part. I think two main things. One, it was back in person, right? So there were a lot of really interesting interactions, really productive conversations with our customers, with our prospects, with, it felt like a family reunion. And that was awesome. Like the energy was fantastic. And second, it's always exciting to see what our customers are doing with the platform, right? Like you, for example, Marta, as a product manager, me as an engineering lead, like sometimes you're designing the feature to complete certain workflows, but then you see how the customers like expand that potential and adapt that to their own business workflows. And that is super, super cool to see, really.
Well, I will pick one. I will pick one. And let me talk about the problem first for a second. So if you think about the analytics industry, we've always talked about the data quality challenge, right? That people will say, well, the data is not good. The quality is not there. And therefore the downstream analytics suffer, right? This is an absolutely true problem. But actually, there's a more fundamental problem that's even worse, which is the data doesn't exist, okay? And so if you think about like the sales team, it's really hard to get the sales team to enter all the pipeline data. How do you get all of your engineers to enter all the data into Jira or Rally or whatever it is that you're using? It's really hard to get people that are doing their jobs every single day to actually enter the data in the system of record to then feed the downstream analytics. This has been a problem for us, for everybody, and no one's figured out how to solve it, by the way, not a single person. And when I saw the launch of MicroStrategy Lightning, I said to myself, wow, there might be something there to actually encourage people through engagement and loyalty to actually enter the information that we need to make the analytics better. And I've never seen that in the analytics business in all these years. And I thought that was kind of a sleeper, like this thing that, we haven't talked that much about yet, that could fundamentally create an entirely new way of getting people to actually put the data into the systems so that we can do analytics better than ever before. So that to me was a pretty interesting opportunity.
Yeah, all super good answers. I think that was super interesting to bring in MicroStrategy Lightning, because I think all of us started to talk about MicroStrategy ONE, which if you're watching, you see on the screen, bringing together all the products, being that one solution where you can do everything. But MicroStrategy Lightning is such a cool thing where you'll start to see us do more in the next few months. But it's really going to change the way I think people perceive what we can do.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. So shifting our conversation a little bit into futures and the futures presentation that we gave in May. Surab, this is more of a question for you and the vision that we have for product, but how do you see AI shaping the future of analytics and what we're going to be doing with the product?
Yeah. So let's just kind of unpeel the onion really quick, right? So again, our mission, our North Star is intelligence everywhere. And so it's all about how do we get actionable information out to every single person in an organization, whether you're driving a truck or delivering packages or selling, dresses, or you're white collar and you're doing analytics, like any of those things. That's our goal, okay? And historically, in order to achieve that goal, there was 3 primary personas. There's actually a lot more than that, but I'm just going to keep it simple, that we needed to build software for. There was administrators and the people that deployed software. And they also oftentimes were people that were like data stewards, right? They were connecting to databases, modeling the data, these sorts of things. Then you had people that were building applications. They were building dashboards, reports, dossiers, whatever it might be. Call those, analysts. And then you had the end users that were consuming these things out in the world. okay? And so when we think about generative AI, like we said, it's another superpower, right? Just like mobility was, and just like the web and the internet was. So it's another superpower. And our goal is to make life better for each one of these personas, right? How do we make it easier for the data steward to connect to data, write SQL, do whatever it is they need to do to actually get the data in a good shape? How do we make it easier for the analyst to create stuff, right? Whether it's visualizations or dossiers, dashboards, whatever it might be. And then how do we make it easier for the business user when they have questions that are not already answered? How do we make it possible for them to actually do that? So that's how we look at generative AI. We look at the industry and kind of go, okay, how do we take this superpower and inject it into the workflows of these three different personas?
Love it. And then so from the futures presentation, we definitely have been working to get some of them in the product.
Yep.
Some of them are now preview features, which is super exciting. Do you guys want to walk us through some of those to get started?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll start. I'll cover two of them. I'm going to cover the two ends of the bookshelf, if you will, right? So I'll cover the data steward and what we're doing for the data steward, as well a little bit about the analyst. Then I'll talk about what we're doing for the end users, and I'll hand it off to you guys to talk a little bit about what we're doing for the analyst in the middle.
Very cool.
So on one side, it's what's the problem we're trying to solve? How do we make it easier for people to query the data and get the output that they need? And so we've got a brand new feature that we're working on called SQL Scribe. And we might change the name of that. So all these names are sort of work in progress. But let's call it SQL Scribe for today. And it really is what it sounds like, right? It's a scribe, it's AI driven, and it's able to actually generate fairly sophisticated SQL for you that you can then just grab and put into your report or whatnot to actually get the output that you want. And this is quite democratizing because back in the day, for many, many years up until now, you needed to have pretty sophisticated SQL skills to do some of these more sophisticated things, right? Of course, you could drag and drop objects, but the second you want to kind of go beyond that and have some custom calculations and groupings and some custom metrics and things that were created, you needed to know the database structure. You need to know how to do joins. I always get that wrong, right? Is it a left outer join or inner join? You know what I mean? And so you had to know all these things in order to do it. Now with generative AI, you can just ask it for what it is that you're looking for in terms of output. And we can now generate the SQL that's necessary to go ahead and fetch. And it's using a combination of the intelligence of large language models along with our semantic graph and our knowledge of how these databases are structured, what the table structures look like, what the joins look like, what the relationships look like between them. And as that matures, our ability to generate the SQL will mature as well. So that's kind of our secret sauce, right? Our secret sauce applied to large language models to do SQL generation, basically. So that's on one side. And on the other side of the spectrum, for the business user, what happens a lot, this happened. I was talking to a lot of customers out in Milan and Zurich, and what they were telling me over and over again was two kind of problems that we face in the industry all the time. One is adoption. How do you get people to adopt BI and analytics, right? And one of the challenges with adoption is sometimes those reports and dashboards don't meet the immediate needs of the user, right? And that brings a second problem, which is that the BI team is constrained in that they can't produce stuff quickly enough to meet the needs of those users, right? And so what we're doing with a thing called Data Whisperer is enabling the end user to actually go and ask the questions that they have. And this does two things. Number one, it makes it so that if they have a question that's not answered in the dossier, they can go and ask that question and get the answer, right? So it increases adoption because they don't get stuck, right? They can go in and they want to keep going back because if the dossier doesn't immediately answer their question, they can go beyond the dossier and get answers to their questions. The second problem that it solves is that it reduces the load and the backlog of questions that the analysts need to build answers for, right?
Yeah.
So that means that the analyst can focus on the high volume things, and all of those edge questions that sit around, the business user can use Data Whisperer to answer those questions themselves. So again, it's giving the business user and end user superpowers. It's giving the person that's trying to write SQL or maybe doesn't know how to write SQL superpowers. And I think it's going to really revolutionize the interactions that people have with analytics. You guys want to jump in with some of the other pieces?
You're already giving superpowers to the data steward and to the business user, but what about what about the person in the middle? What about the analyst, right? So Saurabh talked about like making it faster and easier for the data steward to generate a complicated or the complex SQL that is required for some, for some workflows. So we're doing kind of the similar thing as part of the project AI Canvas, and again, names, tentative for now. They might change in the future. But the idea behind AI Canvas is to be able to build a dossier really with just asking a question. And you're building the entire set of visualizations and grids and interactions that you need to have on that page, right? So I've also talked a little bit about, sometimes, the BI analyst team, they have a huge backlog, right? They need to create all of these things, and that takes time. But if you are able to to leverage AI technologies to, again, just ask a simple question, and all of a sudden you have in front of you all the analysis that you need to create or that you need to create dashboards or dossiers for, then it's super simple. It really feels like a superpower. It feels like, instead of, taking you hours or minutes to create a dossier, it is taking just a few seconds to do that, right? And we do this by understanding the data that you need to build on top of the data that you need to use for your visualizations. We understand the relationships behind those objects, behind the attributes, behind the metrics, dimensions, measures. Like, we understand all the relationship behind that, and then are able to build an analysis that makes sense, and it's helping you to answer all the business questions that you might have.
I will take it one step further. You're talking about creating dossiers, everything that we already have. But to have it, we talked about semantic graph and about what's actually the core of all of the information and how you get the one version of truth for all of your reporting. So one of the things we have in store for the future is Project Schema Builder. Yes, again, the name may change. But basically what you do is you go and ask your AI assistant for help how to create your schema properly, how to analyze sales, for example. And then it helps you pick the tables that you need to use, create attributes or metrics. So you don't really need to do all of this on your own. It saves you time, because even like when you have a lot of like large databases, you would need to go and analyze, what's this metric for? What does this show me? How can I change it and adjust it so that my reporting actually shows to my end business users what they're looking for? And even if they can use Data Whisperer to then answers all the questions you didn't answer for them, you need to have the base and build it for them. So this is one thing that we have. But going back to the data steward, if you want to automate some of the things and you're not there every time to click and start the process for yourself, or you think of some processes that you could have automated but you're not really sure how to do it, Project Workflow Builder will be there to help you. So you could say, okay, how do I don't know, refresh all of the cubes properly, what time, so that my users starting at 9, they will already have everything predefined for them. And then it helps you build a workflow, how to add items to it, so objects and steps, so that you can actually work and automate it. But apart from that, and apart from the amazing AI features that we have, we also have something called Project Dossier Actions, and this is connected with my favorite Python. Basically, what it would do is give you some custom possibilities to adjust your dossier to do a little more than with out-of-the-box functionalities that dossiers are full of. You would be able to create some Python script and then target this script with a simple click of a button, for example, and then something is happening for you in the background. What it is, it's you who decide, because you can create a script, or your admin or someone from your team, but basically you can get all of the analytics, all of the power, put it together, and then for the end user, you get a simple thing, but very, very powerful, because the background of it is amazing.
I think it's cool because all three of you answered a way to give superpowers, right, to every user at different edges of the organization. So you had Saurabh talk about the business users. Jose very briefly just talked about what we have for analysts coming up with AI Canvas. And then Marta just ended, with administration and more of the architecture side of things. But what's really cool and what's underneath all of that, like Marta mentioned, is that semantic graph, which is essentially our competitive edge in this new era of AI, which is really cool. Jose, I wanted to ask you one question, and you mentioned it earlier with the PowerPoint integration, but we had 2 features at World that were fan favorites, got a lot of applause. So we're going to show you those as well. You saw all of the workflows being, really revamped across the platform, but these 2 were some of the most exciting. Do you want to talk us through those real quick?
Yes. So this is my favorite feature. I think at Futures we call it Project Data Deck. It's our integration with PowerPoint, right? So we understand that the de facto presentation tool is PowerPoint, right? A lot of people use PowerPoint for their daily work activities, right? So one of our core differentiators is reusability, right? So what we are doing here with PowerPoint is that you can connect to your MicroStrategy environment, browse your entire library, and then you select either an entire dossier, an entire page, or just selected visualizations that you want to import to PowerPoint. This is actually helping us to also increase adoption because, again, those users that might not be that familiar logging into an analytics system, they're doing PowerPoint presentations on almost a daily basis, right? And what happens here is that this is not only an static image. This is not only something that you would take a screenshot and then put it on your PowerPoint presentation. This actually is connecting and reconciling with the MicroStrategy data either on demand or when you open the presentation on a regular basis, right? So that way you can guarantee that every time that you're opening this, you have the most up-to-date data. But what if you don't, right? What if you just want to have, a static because this is a snapshot that you took, I don't know, a week ago for your sales presentation? You also have that possibility. Like you don't have to refresh if you don't want to. But again, if you want to, you can be connecting automatically to the MicroStrategy system and then get updated visualizations for you. This saves a lot of time, right? Because right now, what some users have been doing is that I have to go to MicroStrategy, I need to determine what I want, and then you needed to bring it back to PowerPoint. But with this, you're gonna save a lot of time on creating these presentations in MicroStrategy content.
Yeah. I was going to say, really quick, Jose, I was going to ask you a question. Sorry. When you're doing this, so let's say that I'm bringing in the visualization, from an application or a dossier that I've previously built. Does it maintain the same formatting, branding that I had in the dossier? I know that a lot of people have asked us that.
Yes. Everything that you define in your dossier, all that formatting, all those themes and templates and colors and everything that you define in the dossier will be transported to your PowerPoint presentation.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. And second is conditional display.
Second, conditional display. Again, going back to the reusability piece of it, right? Like we understand that depending on the form factor, depending on the user, depending on maybe the application that you are using a dossier in, you might want to have like different behavior of your dossier, mainly showing or hiding navigation components. For example, maybe, Saurabh needs to check some pages that maybe I don't have to see, or maybe I have some engineering pages that I need to, the product team might not be that interested on, and it's just going to be cluttering the dossier. But the rest of the pages are completely visible to everyone, right? So we have that flexibility. You can determine whether someone should see or should not see a page or a chapter. And also on the dossier components on the page level, you can define whether some components, some UI piece should be exposed or hidden, right? That way you can design a single dossier or a single page, and then you can reuse it on multiple applications and on multiple workflows.
Awesome. Yeah. And then as a reminder for everyone watching, those first 2 features that Saurabh showed of Data Whisperer and SQL Scribe are preview features. So you can go in, you can mess around with it, see if you like the feature, give us feedback if you're a current customer. And the rest are roadmap items that will be coming in the next few months to be determined. We don't know. Everyone knows. But when we use preview features, can you guys go over really quick how to actually access the preview features?
Let me give you an example. Let me talk about maybe my favorite preview feature that we have as part of our future release. So we know, and by popular demand, library is a modern experience that we can talk about it a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that people were asking for to have on library was a folder browsing experience.
Yep.
And we released preview features to collect feedback to make sure that by the time that they IGA, they're meeting, the requirements that our customers have and that we have defined. Well, to enable, for example, folder browsing in library, the only thing that you have to do is go to Workstation, go to the Help menu, click on Preview Features, and then a new option will be displayed on your applications editor. So you can define an application that has folder browsing exposed to their users. For some other features, there's additional steps needed to be followed, and then we have those collected in our documentation.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for that time for answering all those questions. Now we actually have audience questions, and we're going to start with some that are in the chat, and then we have some from social media. So to start, the question is, how does MicroStrategy plan to stay ahead of the curve in the rapidly evolving landscape of digital assets and AI? So we kind of addressed it a little bit. We can do it again, but curious to hear what you all think.
You want me to take this one first? Sure. So I think ahead of the curve, that's interesting, right? So listen, a lot of really great companies out there that are going to do really great things in the space, right? So you've got Microsoft, you've got Salesforce, you've got Click, you've got kind of everyone really aiming for this. I think the approach that we will take is to focus very, very tightly on the use cases that matter the most to our customers and to our prospects. Okay. And now that sounds like an obvious thing, but you would be surprised how often in history people take a new platform like mobile, for example, and they go, hey, let's go build a bunch of mobile features, right? And I remember competing with MicroStrategy back in those days, and it was really hard because the MicroStrategy approach to mobile was very different than everybody else. What everybody else said is, hey, let's take all the stuff that we already have, our dashboards and reports and whatever, and put them on mobile devices, right?
Yeah.
MicroStrategy said, no. This is a whole new platform. And the kinds of things people will do with mobile devices are different, okay? And so MicroStrategy built mobile applications. It had offline, it had caching, it had write back, it had document signature, it had QR code and barcode scanning. It did a bunch of things for those people way out at the edges of an organization, right? And that's the approach that we're going to take with generative AI, right? Which is, what is it that our customers need to bring intelligence everywhere? How is this platform fundamentally different from platforms from the past? And what will we do unique to the platform to enable intelligence everywhere? Not just adding a bunch of AI features, but what are the things that we can do to further the mission? And that served us well in mobility, right? We were not the biggest company in mobile, but we do think we were the best in mobile analytics, right?
Yeah.
We're not the biggest company in generative AI. There's no way. But we think if we focus tightly on our mission and our customers and our prospects and use this platform to further that mission, we can do something unique and different. So that's the approach that we're taking.
Awesome. All right, Kevin, this is a social media question. Can you tell me more about MicroStrategy Library? Good question that we didn't hit very closely to, but.
Yeah, MicroStrategy Library is exactly what it is. It's a library where you can browse for your content, like your dossier, your documents, your reports. But we took it a little further. It's not just that you can see them and consume them and display them, but you can also share them, save your bookmarks, and those bookmarks can be shared with someone from your team. Or so you set something there and say, hey, Jose, can you take a look at this filtering, exactly the snapshot of data that I want you to see, instead of telling you, okay, so when you open this, please set this, this, and that. I can just simply do it for you, share it with you, and then we can comment on it together in one platform. Everybody can see it. So if we ask Sarab to join the conversation, he can already see the comments that we put there. And it's easy shareable, it's easy accessible. We added amazing features to it, and we're building the library to be more powerful, like with applications, so you can customize it however you want, make access for specific groups of people. So even if you have one library, maybe part of the application is just for HR or part is just for marketing, you don't have to mix it all together. You can save your favorite content. Basically everything, when you think, okay, if I want to open it, I want to see my favorite first, then I can share it with someone, then I can adjust it so other people I work with see the content that I want them to see. It all comes together in library, so it suits needs of every business user, basically.
If you don't mind me sort of adding on to that a little bit. So if you think about, every BI company has some sort of a library, right? A place to go to see all your content. But if you think about, again, the biggest challenges in analytics and BI is adoption. And one of the big problems is people come along, they open up their report and they're like, oh my God, like what do I do now? Right? It's not personalized. It doesn't fit into their workflow. It doesn't fit into the way that they think. It's just a piece of analytics that's thrown at them. And so with the library, what we've done, all the personalization and customization features that we were just talking about, they're all about making it possible for you to get something to your end users that feels intuitive and personalized and part of your business to them, as opposed to here's some random analytics and visualizations. Good luck, right?
And I think that the point that you made about like personalizing that, and Marta, you talk about applications, really getting to that personalization takes just a couple of minutes. And then you can reuse the same dossiers in different applications without having to create new content, without having to deploy new servers, new environments. You can just go create different applications, define different components, different themes, different colors, different options, and then just deploy those applications to different users. Like using Workstation really takes just a matter of minutes to get to this scenario.
Yeah, and I think one thing we always say, and this group knows, is if you're a current customer and maybe you had traditionally been using MicroStrategy Web, and maybe you saw MicroStrategy Library a few years ago, I think it is fundamentally different than what it was. We've added, like they just mentioned, so much functionality that it's similar to the experience that you would have in MicroStrategy Web, and we've strategically designed it in a way that we think you have everything that you need. So if you haven't seen it recently this year, we encourage you to reach out to your AE just to check it out, because it is an entirely new experience. All right, moving on. I guess speaking of custom applications, we got in a question from Anna. Are you all going to continue to advance custom applications? So I guess meaning, in addition to everything we just talked about, are we doing anything in the application space?
Yes, I mean, I am part of the applications roadmap planner, so I can tell you, yes, we do. I mean, right now, you see the applications as they are and as much functionalities as we wanted to put into them. But we also see how our customers adopt the products, what they want more, how we can help them get to what they want to achieve faster with less clicks, easier, accessible, and so on and so on. So definitely new experiences with the modern applications is one of the big steps on our roadmap. It's not a roadmap presentation, so I will be a little secretive about that. But definitely I saw the roadmap. There is more to come, so please stay tuned. Definitely on some next Connect, we will be talking about amazing features that we're planning for that.
Awesome. All right, next question is from Jeffrey. It was a Twitter question. What differentiates Tableau and MicroStrategy in terms of their data visualization capabilities and UX? It's a good question.
I'll take it. First of all, Jeffrey, thank you for joining us. Partly, I think I've answered this question. I don't think it's just Tableau, but it's also Power BI. And I want to say that, first of all, I have a huge amount of respect for the work and products that both Tableau and Power BI have built. They've done an amazing job, and they have expanded this industry tremendously. So first, I want to say that. And for those of you that used Power BI or Tableau, you're in good hands. I mean, those are really great products. What makes us different, again, really comes down to the DNA of the company and our mission and vision for intelligence everywhere, right? So first of all, when you talk to us, when you talk to our support team or services team or sales team or marketing team or product team, we're an analytics company, right? And so we can help you through not just the product parts of deploying analytics, but the human and cultural parts. One of the biggest barriers to adoption is actually cultural and processes and systems and these kinds of things. And so our services team, our consulting team, and others can really help you on that front because that is who we are. Now, from a product perspective, there's also functionality that separates us and makes us different. Not necessarily better, but just different depending on what you want. And it all, again, comes down to that vision for intelligence everywhere. So you think about our semantic graph, for example. The semantic graph is all about providing truthful information consistently, scalably, and reusably to the edges of your organization, right? So instead of having to redo the work of building a dashboard over and over and over and over again, where the data definitions might be a little bit different and so forth, the semantic graph sits underneath all that. So you have common definitions, common access, consistency, and reusability out to the masses. That's number one. And then when you look at the actual applications that we ship, we are much more focused on, I would say, operational applications out at the edges. So I talked about the differentiators that we have in mobility, right? Write back, document signature, QR code. This is great for retail. It's great for people on the shop floor that need analytics integrated with their operational workflows, right?
Yeah.
But we also do that through the applications that we build, not just the mobile applications, but the desktop or web applications as well. And then finally, we even try to cater to people that don't even come to analytics, right? So you might be using an app, you might not even know it's analytics, but there's a MicroStrategy in there, right, with OEM. Yeah. But then you think about something like hyperintelligence, that tries to solve the question or problem, how do you bring analytics to people that aren't even going and looking at analytics, right?
Yeah.
And the way to do that is you have to bring it to where they live and the products that they use every single day, which may not be a MicroStrategy product at all. And hyperintelligence flows and exists on top of that. So what really separates us, I know I said a lot of words, but what really separates us is the specific functionality that we've built to bring analytics way out to the operational edges of your organization. And then the DNA that we have as a company to help you actually get there, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is, separates us from some of the others.
I love it. Awesome. All right. On the East Coast, I know that we're separating probably you from your lunch, but one last question that we have for you. This is from the chat, and I think it's an interesting question that might apply to insights, whoever wants to take this, but is there an idea to implement machine learning to MicroStrategy in the long term? And I think that's a good question to bring in insights and others.
Go ahead.
Reality is that we already implement machine learning. We have some integrations that leverage machine learning. But then after, like a lot of the AI capabilities that we're describing, they're using machine learning behind the scenes, right?
Yep.
It's it's one of the buzzwords in the industry, but we really take it seriously. So for example, in the SQL scribe that Saurabh was suggesting, right? We generate this complex, right? But we keep learning about the type of questions that you're asking, right? And we keep enhancing the model based on that. Insights, for example, use machine learning. The way that we are detecting whether you have an outlier, whether you detect a trend, we are using machine learning algorithms behind the scenes. AI Canvas as well, the project that I briefly described. If a dossier is generated, if visualizations are generated automatically by AI, we also learn and we provide the user the opportunity to determine whether something was useful, not useful. Maybe I want to see something different later on, right? So we already using machine learning in a lot of our workflows, and a lot of the new capabilities that we have been talking about today will also be leveraging machine learning technologies and algorithms.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about it as we continue to innovate is that all these features that we're building, we're just learning from everything and all the data we're getting, and it will just continue to be amazing.
I think that the important thing is also to make it like super transparent to the user, right? I think like Saurabh touched on this point at the beginning, like you don't even think about it. Like you're just asking the question and magically you get something that you like, right? So we need to make this like obfuscate this from the end user at some point and just make it feel like a natural and magical experience to them.
Yeah. Lots of superpowers, lots of magic in this Connect. But thank you guys so much. Welcome back, Saurabh. I'm so glad that you guys could join. And for everyone else, thanks for joining. And make sure to join all of the rest of the webinars we've been doing, Best of World series, and we'll be back with Connect soon. But thanks and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you all for attending.